Welcome back. This is Jack. Hey, um, I have no real clue on what this is gonna be like. This is more of me just trying to figure this out. I'm used to streaming on my Jack Daedalus one. That's all pre-set up. I know what I want on that. This, I'm not entirely sure. So if it seems kind of jank at times, I do apologize. I'm just right now. I just occurred something. Something occurred to me. I need to set up. Let's see here. No, that's not what I want. Delete that. Source visibility. I'm playing with my Stream Deck right now, so I can toggle something on and off real fast. It's under audio capture. No, it's not there. Okay, so it wouldn't be under audio capture. Where did I put it? Confused face? I guess I'll have to worry about it some other time then. Whatever. Anyway, not important. Anyway, so I got no like collection of stories I really want to dive into, and yes, I understand back behind me doesn't look that great. I also probably could like alter the coloring so I don't look as pale. Like put the that's another conversation. I got a few stories I want to cover. Um, don't know where to begin, but actually I have a good idea where to begin. So give me a second. Let's pull up this story. So when it came out, I was a little skeptical of Diablo 4. I honestly was. And why did you flip to that? Hang on, my Stream Deck changed on me. It's not where it should be. There it is. Anyway, I was a little skeptical of it at first because just its microtransactions kind of set me off. I was like, hey, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this idea of the microtransactions they're going to do. Now, I understand they were purely cosmetic, yes. And but my big concern is they were going to be like how Diablo Immortal was. Not only was that a pay to win, but that wasn't as big of a concern. But it was going to be more of they spam it at you every 5 seconds, and to my surprise, they didn't do that. Like they would remind you every once in a while it was there in the menu, but it wasn't like what was the name of the game? Anthem, where like there was a whole quest where you had to go talk to the cosmetic merchant and stuff like that. Um, Yeah. So thankfully, there was none of that. Like you pretty much just had to see it, and you're like, "Oh, that's what that is." Okay, cool. And then you just never cared. Well, it turns out they are doing something. I feel is a little bit just as shady. Hang on, let's see if I got the right button here. I hit the right button. Okay, no, it's this one I want. There we go. Diablo 4 confirms it's doing a Destiny 2 style annual expansion. What this translates to me is they are going to not milk money out of microtransactions. I think they realize that microtransactions are not going to work for them. So what they're going to do instead is they're going to try and release a new expansion every couple months, or sorry, every year annual, and they're going to be like, hey, you need to buy this expansion to continue seeing this world that we're expanding instead of doing instead of just because one of the weird benefits to always online live service games is that you can easily introduce new content from each season to season, and it looks like not Bethesda, Blizzard has decided they are going to instead do the route of where Destiny 2 is like, hey, to enjoy this next new content, these new classes, this new that, new other, you're going to have to buy this expansion. And it's going to be another 30, 40, 50, $60. I wouldn't be surprised if it's minimum 40 because like we're seeing games go up to $70 now as their starting price. All like AAA or A level studios have decided, yep, universally the price is now 70 to get a new game. And yeah, the expansions are going to probably just as be as guilty, and I'm not looking forward to this. This is going to be horrible. But yeah, that's what that's looking like. And as gamers, I don't know what we can really do about it. Honestly, I don't think there is much we can do. In all honesty, um, like we can stop playing the game, but I don't think they'll learn from it. Because I'm trying to think of a time where game developers learned. I think the closest is with the Battlefront releases. You had in the Battlefront releases, you had the first Battlefront 1 remake that came out from EA. And it was... Test. Okay, let's make sure my microphone was close enough. It was basically Call of Duty reskinned as a Star Wars game. It was not great. It was not a Battlefront game as we knew it. And not to mention, there was no single player side. There was really nothing to it. It was just a couple maps, and so EA kind of learned from that because LucasArts / Disney came forward and said, if you mess this up again, we're taking the license from you. You're not making another Star Wars game. So then they made Battlefront 2. And then Battlefront 2 was loaded with a stupid amount of microtransactions that effectively were pay to win. Because someone did the math on how many hours you'd have to spend to unlock, say, Darth Vader. I think Darth Vader would be an example. And since the hero characters inherently are better than the ones you start unlocked and all that good stuff, if you did the free-to-play, they're like, it would take hundreds of hours versus, statistically speaking, because it was random, versus somebody who just dropped the money and kept buying the packs. So they proved it was pay to win. And EA ripped it out before, and it left a huge gaping hole in the game that was very obvious. Now, Battlefront 2 since then has come on to be a great game. They've done a lot of rework on it to make it more better. Mind you, I haven't played it in a while, but all my friends who play it, I was watching them, and they freaking love it. But anyway, they learned from that experience, and then they later went on and take a Souls-like game that was being made by another developer and said, can you reskin that into a Star Wars game? And that's how we got Fallen Order. And then its sequel, eventually. Which is a good game in its own right. Like, I feel it's easy compared to most Souls-like, but it's still good. It's still a fun game. I do, on that topic real fast, I do get annoyed with lightsabers not actually cutting off limbs. Like, because you had the old Jedi Academy games and stuff where that was not a thing. It's just like, oh, I'm going to cut off your arm. You cut off his arm. It feels like you're more hitting somebody with a glowing beat stick than an actual lightsaber these days. That's another conversation. All right. But yeah, no, I don't think Blizzard's going to learn from this. I just really don't. Because if you look at like what they've done with World of Warcraft, they've been phoning it in with a lot of their expansions. So I don't trust them to make good content anymore in the form of expansions, because one of their longest serving IPs is World of Warcraft. And what did they do? They made Shadowlands. And Shadowlands, in its own right, like, just destroyed the lore that had been set up. It had a lot of cool concepts put in, but it just destroyed the lore that a lot of people had been following and loving. And just made all the previous, like, that's one of the problems with like a game like that, is you have this ever-growing scale of horrible evil. Unless you find a way to depower everybody, you find this ever-growing scale of somebody who has to be more powerful. When you beat the Eternal Legion, who had been like this great cosmic evil at all times, what do you do after that? Well, you have to do something that's in the afterlife, that's been manipulating everything from the shadows. Okay, what do you do after that? No. The only thing and they could easily have just brought the Cold War that's going on between the Horde and the Alliance to the forefront again, because there's people who've been dealing with it on both sides both sides, so you have an obvious reason why the stalemate would be even more of a stalemate. Mind you, I really haven't enjoyed the game since Wrath of the Lich King. Even when they introduced Monk, I was like, yeah, I like Monk, and that was all I cared about. So, mind you, I did jump back in to play the Blood Hunter? Demon Hunter, because I always wanted to play that class. So, but that's what it's looking like right now. It's kind of eh. Sorry, there's construction going on outside, so there's always loud trucks. I don't know if y'all can hear it. My microphone's usually pretty good at censoring that stuff out, but I know it gets picked up in my recordings. So I have no faith in Blizzard being able to execute this annual expansions. I just don't. So, all right. So this one is going to be it's going to have some spoilers in it. So if you don't want spoilers, mute me for like 3 minutes or so, because I just want to talk about it real fast. You got a couple seconds before I start talking. Waiting. All right. So in Jujutsu Kaisen, We're just now hitting season 2 of the anime, but the manga's been going on, and we're supposed to be in the final arc of it. I don't see how this is the final arc. I'll explain why in a minute. But people are saying it's the final arc because you finally had the Gojo versus Sukuna. Now, at the end of the Shibuya arc, Gojo gets sealed away and he gets unsealed, and he basically like destroys a lot of things when he comes out. He was pissed. He basically destroyed the Council of Elders or whatever, like the leadership of the Jujutsu world, because of like everything they did. Oddly enough, minus the old man he made fun of a lot who has a guitar, like which was really interesting. Even he goes, "Why didn't you kill me?" He's like, "Because you were following orders. It's not your fault. You did what you had to do, what you felt you had to do, or something like that." But anyway, so the big fight that's been going on is Gojo versus Sukuna. Now, if it was Itadori Sukuna versus Gojo, it would be not much of a fight, or whatever. But because we've already seen how that played out, even at his minimal curse energy, Gojo's playing with him. But Sukuna took over Megama's body, the guy who does the shadow puppets. So he was using his shadow puppets along with his normal powers to fight Gojo. And he even summoned his 10th one, which he had mastered at some point, which is scary as hell because no one had done it previously. And was using it to fight Gojo. So it became a 3-on-1 fight because he was using like one of his other puppets that he had fused with all of it, and then he had the 10th one, and then he himself, which is his own threat. And he was like, there were a couple times where people were like, no, Gojo's lost. He's lost. He got his throat slit at one point. And he's like, oh no, reverse curse energy healed. And people were like, do you not know who this guy is? And then he lost an arm in one of the most recent ones, and they're like, oh, he's done for. He can't fight with just one arm. And Gojo did not give a flying fuck. They went back and forth with like their domain expansions, just constantly popping them, one inside the other, stuff like that. And Gojo even implementing a simple domain expansion, which is another counter method for it, and then another counter for it because Gojo knows all of them for some reason. And then the fight basically came down to Gojo just doing a super massive hollow purple and just nuking the fight because he'd been trying to get a hollow purple off, but the problem is that Sukuna knew about it, so he was trying to stop it. And so he never got a chance to set it off properly. And then he set it up because hollow purple requires him to mix red and blue. So he sent, I believe, he had a blue already on the field, so he sent a red at it. And Sukuna's like, I can't remember the name of it. General, go after it. He's sitting there bossing it around. And Gojo just ended up kicking him away. He's like, okay, now hollow purple everything. And Gojo's immune to his own attacks. And just nuked everything. And it looks like the fight's finally over. Because even the narrator said, fight over, Gojo wins. Now, here's the reason I'm saying all this. The reason why I don't think this is the end. We still have that one guy who's controlling the curse user. The guy who takes over curses. And we still have him. What's he doing? Like, he disappeared from... Hang on, does this do what I think it does? No, it does not. Alright. No, it's this one. There we go. Hey, Gothic. He's still in play. Like, he disappeared just before the fight. Or, like, when Gojo first woke up, he's like, I've done what I needed to do. I'm out of here. I finished all my curse vows. And so he's just dipped out. Is he going to show up at the end of this fight and take Sukuna as one of his curses? Because nothing stops him. Not because the rules for Geto's powers was the spirit has to be free. The spirit has to be free. That's why he couldn't take the inventory spirit or curse in the prequel. But if the spirit is free, not bound to anything, that's why he tried to kill Yuji. Or Yudi, whatever his name is. So he could take the Queen of Curses. So after Sukuna Megama got his butt kicked, is he going to show up and go, hey, you're now one of my curses? How you doing, Gothic? Doing all right? This is not going to be my all-day stream thing. This is just me pooping or getting off the pot kind of moment. I'm trying not to curse too much on this channel. Because I've been saying I've been wanting to stream back on here again. This will probably be like 30-minute to an hour streams, depending on how I feel. Depending on what amount of content I've got to cover. So, yeah. But, yeah. That's what's going on with Jujutsu Kaisen. For those who clicked away or muted themselves so they didn't hear it, this is your time. You're good now. All right. I got a video I'm going to be recording today or tomorrow, and it's actually about One Piece. It's the original. It's the surprising origins of Zoro, like the original version of him. And I wanted to go ahead and talk about it because it's kind of funny. So originally, because in my shorts I don't like give my feelings on a lot of things. I just quickly explain things. Anyway, um, Zoro's original purpose was he was going to be a part of Buggy's crew. Like he was going to be like um, a circus performer in Buggy's crew. That was his original version. And I think it's called One Piece Green, which is like the prototype version for everything. And you can see a lot of the characters that we have now. Like I think even Jinbei shows up as a prototype character. And in that one, you see Zoro as a member of Buggy's crew, which makes a very interesting concept for him. I'm really glad they didn't go through with it, but it's interesting. Especially because like this is the first time you see Zoro kind of start like respecting Luffy. Not like this guy saved me, I kind of owe him, so I'm gonna follow him. And then he's like, okay, I kind of like Luffy. And then he like truly goes, I'm a member of the crew around the time of Sanji, around the time Sanji's joining, after he gets his ass kicked by Mihawk, because he saw that Luffy respected his wishes and didn't interfere in the fight. Not even been able to do shit. Like even now, Luffy would. Oh, not even now. I'd say in the manga right now, Luffy would be able to fight Mihawk and survive the encounter. Whether or not he'd win is up in the air because we don't know how powerful Mihawk is. We just know that he was able to go toe to toe with Shanks on the regular. Now, mind you, I haven't seen the live action too much. I've seen some scenes of it, and it looks pretty good. I really do need to see it. There is like one scene that's floating around when they're fighting Axe Hand, and you see Zoro's sword bend as he's rolling, and you're like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, mistakes like that are going to happen. Like, it's not as bad as Netflix's usual stuff. I do got one thing I want to. There's one scene I want to pull up from a anime that's on Netflix called Baki. I need a. You know what? I'm gonna stop using my Google Chrome for this and use my work one for it. So I've got no assets set up for this. So I have no like standby screens. I've got no alerts going. None of that. This is just me going through. So. Let's see here. I'm trying to remember what it is. Okay, so Baki. Let's see if I can find it. It's a weird scene. I think I'll go with this one. Auto playback is blocked. Interesting. Alright. I think here's a good example. Nope, not that one. There we go. Ignore all the stuff on the side. This is Guardian whatever. I'm going to mute it because I don't need to... But... just some of the animation gets really weird. Now, the funny thing is this is not... So, this is actually true to the manga. That's the funny part to me. This is not like Netflix being weird with its animation. This is how the manga actually is. And it's just like his weird facial reactions. Like, that makes sense. But then you have Yujiro Hanma, the main character's dad, like, makes these weird facial expressions like this, and it just... I don't know if it's like the angle or whatever, but it just feels off. And there's another weird thing they do with his eyes. It's not that. It's not that one. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. He's got like... Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is the weird one. This is posted by Nokebe. Here we go. He does this multiple times, too. Right here. Okay, so you got the weird glowing eyes, but this part. This has always seemed weird to me. Like, it's never explained. Like, the glow in the red eyes has always been hinted that it's somebody with murderous intent or somebody about to take the fight serious. But then you have that, and it just gets weird. And once again, it's not actually Netflix being weird about it. That's actually true to the manga. And I don't mean to trash on the manga artists, because I can't do this shit. I wish I could. But it's just a weird artistic flair I wanted to bring up. All right, I think I got one last thing I want to bring up. This is something I want to trash on Marvel for. Once again, I need to not use Chrome when I'm doing this. All right. So there is a version of the Punisher that I want to bring up, and it is the weirdest thing in the world. Alright, this is what you're going to make me do? Okay, fine. Can I scroll in? There we go. And this is going to be low res, and I don't apologize for that. That's a weird looking Punisher. That's a weird looking Punisher, isn't it? And that's a very weird looking Punisher. Look at that Punisher. Doesn't he look weird? You know why? Because that's the Punisher fused with Ghost Rider. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with this normally, but they don't make him like dead stoic serious. They make him batshit crazy. Like they make him Deadpool kind of crazy. At one point, he's running around with baby Thanos like tied up with his chains, like he's taking care of him, and Galactus is like, "Hey, give me baby Thanos and I will kill him." And then he's like, "Oh come on, because you said that, now I can't do it." Like, that's not Frank Castle. What the hell? Marvel Comics especially has a weird track history. Yeah, exactly. Has a weird track history with the way they represent insanity. You have like Scarlet Witch just blinking the Avengers and the mutants out of existence, in a temper tantrum. They have a bad history of just representing insanity. If a character is insane, they act like Deadpool. They don't have a character who just naturally deals with depression, stuff like that. Like, I'm going to flip over to One Piece to explain it. Usopp deals with depression and self-hate issues all the damn time. In fact, that actually worked to his advantage in Thriller Bark Arc, where this girl temporarily gives you depression. It doesn't faze him because he's always depressed. He phrases it, "I'm always negative," but that's what it translates into. But no, when Marvel makes an insane character, that's what they do. They make them act like Deadpool. And that annoys me. It really does. And then, of course, you have, like, the MCU movies. Like, they're doing better with, like, how they did Scarlet Witch, I think. And they show hints of it with, like, some of the other characters, like, showing it but not going into it. But, like, when they did Iron Man 3, they showed him with PTSD. That's fine. Okay, cool. They showed the PTSD symptoms right. What bothered me, and if you've followed me for any length of time, you know this one. What bothered me... Let's go to this one. What's bothered me about it is... Rhodes. I'll tell you from right now being in the military, you are trained at all levels to recognize the signs of depression, PTSD, and suicidal ideations. And Rhodes is not just E1. He's not E2, he's not E3. He's an officer. He's actually he's a colonel, which is 06 in the Air Force. He's been around in the military for a second. He's gone through all those trainings, and he couldn't recognize the signs of PTSD in his friend. Now, you could be like, oh, it's just because Tony Stark's eccentric. No, because if you remember in those scenes, he's not showing eccentricity. He's having panic attacks from just someone showing a picture of what happened in Avengers 1. That's a clear and obvious sign of a panic attack, and he does nothing. Some friend you are. And then Pepper, he straight up tells her he can't sleep because of his PTSD. When she's sleeping and he can't, he comes down here to work. And her answer, let's have sex. And the kicker to all of this, like that part upsets me. These are people who are supposed to be close to him and love him, and they don't care. Hell, you could do an Iron Man 2 when he when he knows he's dying. He starts giving away all of his stuff, which is a sign of somebody who's about to do something to themselves. And none of them do anything about it. They just, oh, Tony Stark's being eccentric. Anyway, so at the end of Iron Man 3, you see him spilling his guts, spilling his heart out in front of Bruce Banner. And what does Bruce Banner do? Goes to sleep. Some friend you are. You have a friend who is literally like expressing like all of their trauma, all the things that tore into them, and how he's getting over it. And you go to sleep. You fall asleep. And not like halfway through or near the end. fell asleep at the beginning. And that stuff annoys me. And as a clarifier, if you have a friend who has mental trauma, if you have a friend who deals with depression, you are not obligated to stay friends with them. You are not obligated to stay in their life. But for you to dip out, for you to basically ghost them constantly and just ignore their symptoms, but you want to stay in their life, so you want to stay in the highs of their life but not their lows, that's not a friend. That's not family. That's just you using this person. Yeah, I know of your panic attacks. I've been there for a handful of them. Thankfully, I've been able to talk you down. I'm looking at this. Sorry, completely off topic. I'm looking at my reflection here, and my cheeks are starting to look skinnier. I think I am losing weight finally. We'll see. Anyway, I just don't like how MCU shows mental problems. Comics in general, they either show the mental problems as somebody who's flipping their shit and being eccentric, or they show them complete mental breakdown kills everybody. They don't show... Yeah. And you can see it. If you've ever had a panic attack, which a lot of people have, you see it and you're like, that's a panic attack. I can tell that's a panic attack. And as somebody who personally deals with mental problems, if any of you follow me on any of my other stream stuff, I talk about it all the time. My depression, my self-hatred, all this other stuff I deal with, and I'm very open about it because I want people to know they're not alone in these things. And I see comic books and movies, they show people with these problems either as completely useless or they show them as the villain. Yeah. I think I was there for it too. I was there to help you out, I hope. Can't remember. I have shit memory. I blame the depression. Incidentally, if you have depression, it actually will destroy your memory. But no, and DC does it too to some degree. I think DC does handle it a bit better. They actually address it, and that's ever since Dark Knight Returns. In Dark Knight Returns, it was the first comic to show that Batman is as crazy as the people he fights because he can't stop being Batman. So ever since then, DC Comics has been really serious about showing mental disorders, not necessarily making you a villain. As a good example is the Trickster. The Trickster is a villain. He is a villain, no joke. But the Flash has actually talked him out of having his episodes. Yeah. Hey, Peanut Head, how's it going? Sorry, we're talking about some mental health stuff in DC and Marvel comics. So if you're coming in on a serious topic. Anyway, but no, they show the Flash has talked the Trickster down from having one of his "I'm a villain" episodes, and he's after you finish your drink, turn yourself in, and I'll be back on my meds too. Voiced by Mark Hamill too. Anime theory? Oh God, yeah. Don't worry, I'm almost wrapping this up. You got an anime theory? Ooh, let's go. I want to talk because I don't have any topics set up for this one. Because, for the record, this one just started with me complaining about this. That's the Punisher Ghost Rider version. Let's go. I want to hear this. You got an anime theory. I want to hear it. Death Note theory? Ooh, Death Note. Let's go. Now, my memories are a little vague on Death Note, so I might have to ask you to explain a few things. But because I haven't read it and watched it, let's get on the topic. Oh, when we talk about Death Note, oh, that's gonna be sketch. It's been a while since I've read that. Also, I need to finish reading Tokyo Ghoul. That's another topic. Yeah, I know that Light becomes the Shinigami. Well, he doesn't become a Shinigami. He just dies at the end of it. Oh no, Oh, for the follow-up? No, I don't think he becomes a Shinigami Death God. I don't think he does, because the way it's set up is there is no afterlife in their universe. You just die. You cease to exist, and the Shinigami effectively eat your soul. I don't remember him saying anything about it, because at first he hinted that you die and go to the afterlife, but then later on he reveals that no, the Shinigami just effectively eat you, effectively. And that's what he says at the start, but he later on says there is none. Let's pull that up. Hang on. Okay, hang on. There's somebody posted. I'm trying to find out because on Reddit they have a post about it. Hang on. Let's see, can I? I'm trying to find like the actual manga issue that explains it. Because right now it's just a bunch of people commenting on it. Let me see if I can. Is there any images I can find? Here it goes. Well, that's not here. Does this work? Here we go. I don't want the link. Open image in new tab. Here we go. This will do it. I'm still learning the buttons for this one. Yeah, here we go. Can't go to heaven or hell. That's told me everything, Ryuk. What? It just means that there is no heaven or hell, right? You really are something. I thought all humans seriously believed in heaven and hell, but you're absolutely right. And then he says something. We all go back to Mu, which is nothingness. Hang on, let me pull up that one too. Here's the next one. There is no heaven or hell. No matter what you do while you're alive, everybody goes to the same place once you die. Death is equal. And he, I think he later on does say Mu, which is nothingness. There is no afterlife. So it's not a matter if you use the Death Note for good or evil. Once you die, you die. So I don't think he becomes a Shinigami. He can't. There is nothing. You're either born a Shinigami or you're not. And the only reason Ryuk gives up his Death Note all the damn time is because he's bored. Yes, because originally he did imply that once you use the Death Note, you don't go to heaven or hell. No, there is nothing. Mu, nothingness. You cease to exist. That's what it's implied. Can we talk about the art design for Yuke, by the way? I freaking love the design. They didn't just do like the skull thing. I freaking love the Shinigami designs. Sorry, I had to bring that up. Like, I feel the art style is very reminiscent of like Guts, or sorry, Berserk universe. Also, the symbolism with the apple all the damn time. But anyway, yeah. So right here, it's saying straight up that there is no heaven or hell. There's just nothingness. All souls go to nothing. Rem is the best design. You're right. You are right. You got another one we want to bring up? Because I really don't, like, right there as we're saying, I don't, there's no, from what I'm seeing in the lore, mind you, Ryu can lie. I've only read the original Death Note. I've only ever read the original Death Note, so I don't know. And I do think that a lot of, like, mangas and animes, like when they do the afterlife, yeah, I also read it. They're, incidentally, the manga and the anime have a different ending. Yeah, Light dies. Ryuk writes his name. He sets it up like he's writing somebody's to. Yeah, but now that makes you argue what's canon. If it shows up in the anime, is it canon? If it only shows up in the anime, is it canon? Or does it have to also show up in the manga to make it canon? That's an argument that anime nerds will always say. Where did he die? He was running from the cops at the time, and he basically begged Ryuk to basically write the cops' names in there, and Ryuk just writes Light's name. Yeah, I think it shows less. It's once again, it's been years. I think it's been over a decade. I don't remember. It's been over a decade. Let's look. Image. Here we go. Right here. He looks like he's just laying out in the street. Because I do remember that. Because I remember Ryuk sitting on a light post. Because I remember Ryuk sitting on a light post, on top of a light post while he was talking to him, like kind of taunting him. So when he dies, I'm listening. I'm listening. Okay, yeah, he dies on the stairs in the anime. Now, mind you, there is a change between the difference in the anime and I do know that. Let's just do this. Here, we'll just do this. We'll do this straight up. I'm gonna leave the audio off because it makes it less likely I get hit by copyright, and this channel's not big enough for me to be able to fight that shit. This is from Anime Wasabi. I'm gonna leave it muted. If you don't want Death Note spoilers, look away. You got about 3 minutes. Yeah, screw it. I'll turn on the audio. Okay, it's working. Yeah, see, he's even out in the street right here in this one. It's really loud for me. I'm an old man. I hate loud noises. Oh yeah, shoulder injuries in general suck. But yeah, getting shot at all, I imagine it hurts. I've been shot mostly by paintballs and stuff like that, and rubber bullets. They suck. But an actual, like, goes through you bullet. Because the police in Japan use 9mm, if I remember correctly. I miss Japan. It was nice. I miss living there. I'm going to put this disclaimer out there for anybody who's watching this later or now want to care about it. I'm going to mispronounce things. Deal with it, hashtag deal with it. Yeah, it's not sitting on a light post. He's sitting on like a water tower or something. I only played without armor because the armor I felt like made the paintballs bounce off you too often, so I felt it was unfair. But I think the worst one for me was, I'm gonna full screen this one. So I was wearing a full helmet and paintball, and I was at Paintball World out in Ocala, Florida, where I grew up, and it was like a 48-hour paintball event. I freaking loved it. But anyway, somebody opened up in the back of my head. It was my own teammate, too, because they didn't realize I was standing behind them. And when they about faced and went to shoot somebody behind them, they just unloaded into the back of my helmet. And I just laid on the ground. That's why I wore a full helmet for a long time. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, if you have the PSI too high, that will happen. Mind you, I've got a lot of padding. I've always been a little chunky, so that's always protected me. In case you're wondering, this is coffee. I started measuring out my coffee in mason jars. But, like, I do appreciate one thing about this, is that they're very straightforward. Like, once an anime sets its rules, I do like it when an anime sets its rules and goes with it. What else do you know? Okay, so he does die on the stairs, it looks like. If L got the death note, he wouldn't use it. That's one of the things I hate about the Netflix adaptation. The only thing the Netflix adaptation got right is Willem Dafoe voicing Ryuk. Yeah, there's no interaction between Ryuk here. That's what the anime does different. Yeah. That's the big difference. There was no interaction between them in that one. That is a possibility. That is a question. Hang on. That's a question. That's a question. That's a good one. What if? Okay, so what if you had a death note and you wrote your own name? But remember, you can say when it happens and how it happens. So what if you say, in 100 years, such and such will die at this time in this way? Will they live for 100 years and then die? Could you give yourself a long lifespan because of it? And could you use that to bypass the Shinigami Eye rules? Because the Shinigami Eye rules, where you could see someone's name and time left, was you had to give up half your life. Yeah, he's never a good guy. So in theory, if you said, okay, give me the Shinigami Eyes, you get half my life. Okay, now I'm writing my own name in the book and say I live for a millennia. Now I live for 500 years. Or whatever. That you could specify time. He does it all the damn time. You got to remember, when the person whose name you write dies. Remember, he does that all the time. He writes the circumstances in your death and when. Because remember, he was at school at one point and people were still dying, and he did that to cover up that it was a student. He did it all the time. He also did it on multiple occasions where like the bus scene where so in theory, couldn't you do that? Write your own name and then put it in an obscene amount of time and dies surrounded by loved ones. You could put your own, like, how you would want to die kind of thing. I'm thinking Mighty Python. Hang on. Not that one. Once again, I'm trying not to use Google. Let's just go straight to YouTube. Alright, I'm trying to find a good one. Alright. I'm gonna mute this one just because I want to. Y'all can't stop me. This one. Here we go. Credit to Death Note : So you have the police officer who's sitting here planning this out. He just touched a part of the Death Note. Actually, no, hang on. This one doesn't do a good job. Oh, that's fine. Mind you, I get burnt out on donuts really damn quick. So here he's seeing Ryuk, which causes him to panic and prevents him from actively hurting anybody. Because technically, before his death comes up, he could still kill someone. So this is to protect himself. But Ryuk had L had already written his name on how he was going to die. Because you don't necessarily die of a heart attack. You can die getting hit by a bus, and that's how it happens. It's just Light had a habit of always letting people die of a heart attack. But on multiple occasions, he wrote, got hit by bus. And yes, I have it muted for a reason. And don't like playing the audio for anime, especially because I'm going to already get hit by a copyright multiple times for this stuff. Let me see if I already am. I'm kind of curious. Hang on, sorry. No, haven't gotten hit yet. And even then, he's not able to do anything. He can only write your name in the book and then you just die. He can't torture you. Because once again, there's fates worse than death. Alright, hang on. See, here we go. This is where bus stops. And I think it's going to show how he died. But he dies after that. Light, let's see here. None of these have it. But anyway, yeah, he started killing people while he was at school by writing their names and saying they would die at a specific time. And he can do that. He just realized he knew he could do it. So what you do is you write their name and you have like 30 seconds to add into it. So in theory, once again, you could write your own name, have the picture of yourself in your head, and then say dies in 500 years, 1,000 years, surrounded by loved ones, and you can imagine any other method. But yeah, Ryuk would be horrifying to see. Like the first time you see it, first time I see it, I'd probably poop my pants. Yeah. Mind you, I don't think he would use it. Because everything we see about the character, he wouldn't use it. Yeah. Yeah. that's one of the things I didn't like about the live action, once again, because at the end of it, he gets a hold of like a couple pages of the Death Note and looks like he's going to start using it. Like, he wouldn't. That's just out of character for him. Now, once again, I feel like the live action, the only thing they did right was, hang on. Once again, this is the only thing they did right. This one I will unmute. I'll go ahead and get in trouble for it. I don't care. It's on. It should still be on Netflix. I don't know if it is. So support the. The only thing they did right is Ryuk. This takes place in America. Right there's a problem. I'll let Willem Dafoe go. Oh, I'm not showing you all the screen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I really don't like how they portrayed Light in this. See, Willem Dafoe nailed it. Not to mention they animated him really damn good. Like, Netflix rarely gets a win on that, and this is one of them. With the exception of Willem Dafoe. That's the only... I won't accept you to say otherwise. Willem Dafoe nailed his role. But this guy right here, I don't know if he's a good actor or not, because I don't remember seeing him in anything else. But, that sounds about right. I'm just waiting. I'm trying to get to where they actually show his face straight up instead of like the dark shadows. And like this, like one of the things that bothers me is like a lot of like movie directors like to do this is like to Americanize things. Which, okay, whatever. But if the character's not supposed to be American, don't make him American. Another good example is Constantine with Keanu Reeves. I like the movie. I do like the movie, but if you forget that it's supposed to be a Hellblazer Constantine movie and just a movie in its own right, it's good. But if you remember, Constantine's supposed to be British, and all the other details, it's a lot. You really just don't like it. See, like I love how they did Ryuk in this. They don't just show his face straight up at first. See, right here, like, even this one, they show that he can die from other methods. Oh, they cut away. I'm just trying to find a good scene where they show Ryuk's face. Alright, I'm going to mute it now, or pause it now and just flip through. Nope, alright. And the funny thing is, Constantine is blonde, and they don't make him blonde. So it's funny that we're talking about... Oh, no, I don't think... I think he just has brown hair. It's just the way the coloring is. Because you got to remember, in, like, Batman, his outfit's not blue. It's supposed to be black. But in comic books, you can't do a flat black. You have to do blue to highlight it. Yeah, I spilled coffee on my chin. But no, like I do. Yeah, go ahead. I am gonna talk about Netflix and their anime stuff. Netflix has had some good wins. Like I do like the Baki series. Like they do a legitimate good job with the Baki series. The Wolf Among Us? No, I don't think. I don't think I played it. I think my friend shared back when they were still content creating. I'm just double checking. It's the game I think it is. I think they did, and I was doing the video editing for it. I could be wrong, but anyway. Oh no, then definitely not. I haven't played any Telltale games. It's nothing against them. I just haven't. My roommate played the Borderlands one, the first one, and I enjoyed listening to that. But I just don't play Telltale games. I don't know why. What was I going to say though? I lost track. Oh, so Netflix has had some random wins. Like out of their anime stuff, the Seven Deadly Sins was garbage. Like the first season was okay, but then after that, the art style just got worse and worse. But then they had the win of Baki. Both series they've done, I love it. They did a great job animating. It feels true to the spirit, both in English and Japanese. It's great. Um, um, Kengan Asura is not bad. I disagree. That's actually what I was going to get to. I disagree. I think they did a good job. I do have I think they did a good job. They did something that most other studios cannot do, and that is showing stretching powers and not making it look stupid. That's the reason why they made Miss Marvel have like the weird like energy powers instead of stretching powers like she's supposed to, and that actually does piss me off. And also, they made the whole Jin thing. Yeah, it tracks. Which is unfortunate because Escanor, I freaking love Escanor. He's so awesome. Who decided that? CGI's kind of mid. Okay, I'll give you that. But here's the answer why. It's a TV show, not a movie. They don't have the same budget. You have to okay, once again, you're taking a manga slash comic book and turning it into real life. You're going to have to make some sacrifices in those regards. No one's going to look perfect. But I feel the actors really freaking captured their personalities very well. The guy who did Zorro, that was my make or break. If how they did Zorro. I got a Zorro statue behind me right now of him doing his multi-head, multi-arm bullshit. There's a short form, that's what it's called. Like, yeah, there's going to be some sacrifices in their appearances. I get that. But I feel like the actors captured the personality. I feel the only person who was, like, a little off is Mihawk, which is unfortunate because Mihawk's one of my other favorite characters. Oh no, Shanks was garbage. Shanks was garbage. Like his hair didn't feel the right kind of red. Not only that, like what you said, but also that. Let me turn this back on. Not that y'all can really read that. I need to figure out a way to make that better. I think. But no, like I feel the actors did a good job. I legitimately feel the actors did a phenomenal job. Buggy was on point. Mind you, I haven't seen all of it. I've seen bits and pieces. I feel like the only true mess up. I need to stop pulling up Google. Let me just go ahead and close it. One Piece live action, Zoro, there it is. Because a lot of people have been pulling this up. This one right here, of course it's really small resolution. Hang on. But right here, when he goes to roll, you can see his sword bend. So like one of the... Oh no, like that's definitely he was on point. But that's actually this is one of the parts that people are complaining about, and it makes sense. No, he was good too. My only problem is I don't remember Axe-Hand Morgan actually being a threat. I don't remember him being a threat in the anime. Now, mind you, that's fine. A mess up like that sneaking through is fine. I'm actually okay with stuff like that happening. Like, I didn't complain in Game of Thrones when they accidentally left a latte mug out by accident. It happens. It happens. Like, when you have like so much chaos going on, things like that are going to slip through. It's fine. Captain Blue Jeans in Star Wars Mandalorian, I think it was. I just don't remember him being a threat. I don't remember him being much of a fight. I remember Luffy pretty much stomping him by himself. And Zoro dealing with the crew. Yeah, no, I remember that. But I don't remember him actually being a threat. Like, he wasn't dangerous to Luffy. Like, I remember Luffy just pretty much one-shotting him. But it's been a long time. Yeah. I also remember him taking a swing at Garp, which is the funniest thing because Garp didn't care. Didn't phase him in the slightest. This is before you knew who Garp was, too. Just like cuts Garp down the front and you think Garp's injured. It's like, oh no, someone got injured in the crew. Who got hurt? You did. You got, oh, I did? Oh, okay. I freaking love One Piece. I love what's going on in One Piece right now. Oh, spoilers, by the way. In case you're not following the manga, slight spoilers. Luffy's about to fight Kizaru. At least it appears he's about to fight Kizaru, because I don't want him to fight Kizaru. I want Zoro or Sanji to do it, because I feel that Kizaru is below a Yonko. He should not be fighting an admiral, one-on-one. It feels like you're really insulting what a Yonko is at that point. Sorry. I need to be able to breathe. I really do feel like Admiral should be... He did not one-shot him? Okay. It's been a while. Yeah, okay. So it is a short fight. I just remember it being a really short fight. I don't remember Morgan being a threat to Luffy, because Luffy goes on to fight Kuru in the next arc where he gets Usopp, and Kuru is the reason that Axe Hand Morgan's so messed up. Oh yeah, Kobe got a glow-up. He got a... I'm trying not to curse on this channel. On my Jack Daedalus channel, I curse all the time. Yeah, Kobe got a glow-up. His training with Garp really paid off. And additionally, like, he is not weak. Like, Garp straight up says he is the next generation of Marines and does not hold back on that statement. We also finally got to see Garp fight and see what he truly can do. Like, okay. Like, even the people he's fighting, like, there is no running from this man. I'm not going to spoil that one. There is a short I did, though, that talks about it. So if you want, just go through the channel and find it. Eat a chicken nugget in front of a rooster. Is that supposed to be a cover-up for a swear? Look, I'm trying not to speak sailor. Like, I was in the Navy. I'm trying not to curse. And that's not easy. I also want to do this. Take your pet rooster into KFC. See how that goes. All right, I'm gonna start winding down. I wasn't planning too much for this because this is what I kind of want to do. So here's my plans going forward for this kind of stuff. I need to get some alerts and stuff made up. I just didn't bother doing it. So my plans are, early on Fridays, I'm going to stream on Coffee Over Gaming. It's going to be like one of these where we just talk about geek stuff going on. And then on Mondays, I'll be doing the same thing, but on my Coffee Over Politics channel, where I'll just talk about the news that's going on. And then Wednesdays is the only day where I'm fully on my Jack Daedalus channel. My Jack Daedalus channel, I stream Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. And because of my mental problems, I will miss days. Geek. Yes, I am a geek. Deal with it. No. I need to watch Jojo. Sorry, not Gojo. Jojo. I do need to watch Jojo. Just so I can understand the freaking memes, if nothing else. I even have, like, a sound effect for it. But it was Dio! Like, I know what happens. I just haven't watched it. But anyway. So that's what I'm currently planning. Nerd! Yeah, that's another one I need to set up. Just Piccolo screaming, nerd! From Dragon Ball Abridged. So if you want to be aware the next time I go live, you can hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Y'all can, if you're watching this in the future, you can be a part of the show and talk, bring up geek stuff like we were doing here. Is Funny Valentine a Democrat or a... What are you talking about? What? Could you rephrase that? I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. That almost seemed like a Chat GPT statement. Oh, it is a JoJo character villain, in fact. Oh, I haven't watched it. Funny Valentine. Okay, I'll look at that and then I gotta go, because I actually do have to get ready for my other stream. Also / actually eat food because I haven't eaten today. Uh, I'm going to be reading about the description on him based on his politics. Hang on. I'll pull it up in a second. I tried not to talk about politics on here, but I will. Especially if it's in the context of geek stuff. Yeah, he became 23rd president from what I just scanned through. Based on some of his descriptions, I would put him on. Based on some of the descriptions I'm reading in here from what he's saying, he sounds like he'd be a Republican. Here's my logic. One, because he was alive during the Civil War, he probably has more of a conservative mindset of like tradition and stuff like that, which is traditionally Republican. On YouTube, I stream on YouTube. I am going to probably start streaming on Twitch again, so you could watch my Twitch channel and catch any time I stream. But we'll see about that. Anyway, but yeah, I would put him as a Republican because one, he probably has a conservative mindset and like it's more about tradition. That's part one. Part two, by the way, I'm extremely liberal in case you're wondering. Anyway, and part two, he has more of an authoritarian mindset. Now that's so in the political spectrum, you have left and right, which is conservative versus liberal, but then you have authoritarian and effectively anarchy, but I forget what it's actually called, libertarianism. He would be probably about in this spot where he's traditionalist. He's traditionalist and conservative. Or sorry, he's traditionalist making him probably more conservative, and he seems authoritarian where he's like imposing his will onto others. So I'd put him about here. So he would probably be more likely in the Republican Party, because more often than not, of late especially, the Republican Party seems to be leaning towards the authoritarian side. I'm not going to go into a huge spiel on that. I'm trying not to. As Gothic will tell you, I will, on the drop of a dime. Before I forget. I disagree. I really do. I disagree. So here's why. You can also argue which version of a Democrat. So if you don't care about politics, skip ahead about 10 minutes, because this is going to be a bit of a one. In modern politics, not talking about FDR Democrats, which are vastly different, not talking about Nixon Republicans, we're talking modern times. Democrats have the policy of more of, and you can even call it, we'll go with the woke policy term. I hate that term, but we'll go with that. Where it is trying to fight for equal rights. Now, you can argue what equal rights are. So, for instance, LGBTQ. The liberal policy, the Democrat policy on this is let people marry who they want to marry. Okay, I'm just breaking this down from what I understand in politics, which I think is pretty good. I follow it a lot. That's why I have a whole channel dedicated to it. Anyway, Democrats' policies are roughly, he was 23rd president is what he's listed as in this bio. Democrats are, government takes responsibility for certain things, progressives specifically, and people can get their abortions, people can get their guns with restrictions, as in, like, you get your background checks and stuff like that, and you can't persecute people for their sexuality and stuff like that, and they try to protect trans rights. That's like the major things, while also expanding Medicare, Medicaid, and they do, and proper Democrats fight against the privatization of various things like Social Security. Whereas Republicans, not talking about the, okay, I have to. You have them saying states' rights, except for when they want something specific. So, for instance, when the Supreme Court knocked down abortion as a right, they bumped it back to the states. Now, states are right now saying you can't. A lot of states are saying you can't have an abortion until before your 5th week. Most women don't know they're pregnant before then, so they can't get an abortion, and there's no exception. So you'll have 13-year-olds who had unwilling participation. Oh, my kitty cat. Did he go behind me? Oh, yeah. My kitty cat, Zane. Yeah, it's like if I could, I would set up a camera dedicated to where he sleeps, but he keeps moving. But anyway. And now there's members of the House Republicans who are saying we want to make this a statewide or a countrywide thing. So they went from, oh, it's a states-wide thing. We'll let the states decide to. Now we're going to enforce our will. So they become very authoritarian, the Republicans in nature. Yeah, so that's an extremely abridged version. I'm not going to go in further into my rant. I'm trying not to. There are like 2 things I follow a lot: politics and geek stuff, and technology by extension. Yeah, my little buddy Zane. He is named after the Borderlands 3 character, in case you're wondering. Alright, now I'm going to wind this down. So, I'm going to shoot for Fridays at noon. I'm going to try and start these streams. I started this one early because I decided if I didn't start it early, I wasn't going to start it at all. So, Fridays at noon will be Coffee Over Gaming. Mondays at noon will be Coffee Over Politics. We'll do 3 p.m. Jack Daedalus channel. Y'all can hit me up there. That's where I stream on the regular. Usually I'm playing a game and while we talk about whatever comes up. A lot more swearing, a lot more inappropriate stuff talked about. So if you want to catch me there. This one I'm trying to keep more family-friendly-ish. So, anyway. Hey, Peanut, it was great you being here. If you want, you can hit the subscribe button. You'll catch me when you can. Hey, I appreciate you being here. It was a lot of fun. You brought some really good questions in. If you get any other questions, always bring them in. I love talking about whatever. If I don't know something, I love to learn it. Gothic, always pleasure seeing you here. But yeah,